Before the weekly analysis begins, I just want to let you know that I do have a Patreon page. We have two tiers available. The first tier is called Start Off for £15 a month, and what you will receive is access to a Discord server containing the beginners, intermediate, and advanced course, risk management course for Elliot Wave trading, as well as financial literacy content. This tier is also for those who want to learn at their own pace and generally just support what I do and just join a community of like-minded traders. The second tier that I have is called the Waveologist for £35 a month, and what you receive is everything that I mentioned above with the addition of specific chart requests for me to annotate on a daily and weekly time frame, and one-to-one support or group sessions depending on how many people have subscribed to this tier. The group or one-to-one sessions are for those people who want a little bit of extra help with their Elliot Wave education and also give the opportunity to ask me as many questions. Please do keep in mind that these are going to be 1 hour sessions depending on how many people have subscribed, and also I would say please do consider joining. It is really good value for money, and without further ado, let's get into the analysis. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, guys. This is going to be my Elliot Wave Count for pound, yen, pound, dollar, and gold, the weekly forecast. And before we start, any views, opinions, or suggestions that are expressed in this video do not constitute to trading or financial advice. So let's get started here on pound dollar. Here are my annotations. So obviously from last week I did say that we could have a possible change in structure where instead of this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move, we've now, instead of rallied up in terms of an impulsive move, we've kind of rallied up as a 3 wave move, or you can say a corrective move to the upside, impulsive, or not impulsively, but rallied to the upside in a corrective manner. So we have an ABC into a W, you have another ABC here, a nice running flat, or so not running flat, an expanded flat into a wave X, and then we have an ABC here into a wave W. Now obviously from last week I did say to you guys that from around this level obviously we're going to start selling off, and we eventually did sell off. I hope anyone that did sort of understand that. I do hope that you guys, if you did, if you made any money on that. And but yeah, man. Nevertheless, where are we heading towards in terms of the week to come? Um, I think with pound dollar, we're gonna probably see more downside coming in. But before that happens, you might get some sort of little mini correction. Um, but at the end of the day, I don't necessarily think that we're gonna essentially hit these lows or anything like that. We might possibly hit these lows. That is a huge possibility. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that we're gonna hit these lows. Um, I genuinely believe that we are currently in this X wave that we have right here, and we are currently going to be moving as a 3 wave structure, a corrective structure. And what we're going to see is probably a 50 to 61.8% retracement of this entire wave. So around in and around these levels, we probably see a nice retracement coming down. It could even possibly go to 78.6, and then from there we'll probably expect one more upside. And the reason why I say that is because obviously from what I've seen here we have a WXY structure right here, and we can see that it hit the 618 and it started to go down and basically reject that. Alright, and for when the 618 hits, we're essentially going to get simply a 3 wave correction back down before we then hit the 1 and 1.236 level. So in terms of long-term future or foreseeable future of pound dollar or cable, I am definitely seeing maybe the 1.4 level, 1.42 or even 1.43 level being hit. But before that even takes place, we will probably see a short-term correction to the downside with this pair. That's obviously the long-term foreseeable things. But let's go into the shorter time frame. So on the shorter time frame, on the 4 hour time frame to be exact, we have a nice, you can say, an impulsive move to the downside. So you have a wave 1, a wave 2, and then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a wave 3, a wave 4, and then a wave 5. The 4 hour, obviously the previous 4 hour candle obviously closed as a nice insider bar, so we could possibly see some movement coming to the upside. With that being said, this could either be considered as two things. So this is an impulsive move, we know that for sure, and this could be either considered as a wave 1, or this can be considered as a wave A. In my opinion, I'm going to assume that this is wave A as we are currently in this X wave, and I'm going to stick to my analysis instead of just assuming things basically. Um, After that, once this wave 1 or wave A completes, in my opinion, it does look like it has been completed, or we could possibly just go down a little bit more. But other than that, we're going to get some sort of deeper pullback coming in around 50 to 61.8% of this entire wave. And that will probably be a nice opportunity for us to go short again, follow the trend to the downside. Now, in terms of the long term thing, I mean, on the day time frame, the long term, short term view is that we are currently bullish. So, selling this type of market is usually risky. I mean, to be honest, I don't really trade X waves. I just let X waves happen. But if you want to obviously go against the trend, then you go ahead and do that. I'm not going to say to do that because I don't really go against the trend. I try my best to follow the trend at all times because the trend is your friend to the very end until it bends. Um, but nevertheless, in terms of the sort of short-term thing, I am going to see that we're going to get some sort of correction coming in before we start heading down to the downside again. So that's pound dollar. Let's go into gold right here. So gold, obviously, I did say we'll start seeing shorts for the wave 4, and we eventually had that, so which was very very nice. I did make some profit, alhamdulillah, through this trade, through this move right here, and I did say that obviously with this being a wave 1, a wave 2, then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a wave 3. We then have come back down for that wave 4, and the wave 4 looks like to me it's going to reject the top of the channel, and we could essentially start moving up for one more push upside for that wave 5. Now that wave 5 is definitely, I think, is going to happen. However, what we need to pay attention to is that this wave 4 doesn't necessarily mean, although it has hit the parallel trend line, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has ended, right? So what I mean by that is essentially, usually when I see this, I usually tend to get in. However, I have also seen that in the past when it comes to wave 4, they tend to long out or drag out much more than the wave 2s. So this could be a wave 4. We could be completed this wave 4, and we could just continue going to the upside, and that would give us a nice wave 5. That's a nice textbook, you can say, wave 4, wave 5. At the same time, this wave 4 could continue on going for a bit more longer. We could get 3 waves up again. We could become a triangle, and we could see something happening like that before we get that one more push to the wave 5, or we could see a wave 4 as a flat, so we can come like a regular flat, or expanding flat, or running flat, or we can also get a WXY structure or anything like that. But keep in mind, this is the wave 4, which could be or could not be completed until there is price action confirmation. I'm looking at the price action. I don't see no price action confirmation except from things like wick rejection, but I want a nice solid price action before I even tend to get into the market. But keeping in mind, we are in this wave 4, and until there is a clarity, before we get that wave 5, look for that price action before you go in. So yeah, that's gold. That's obviously the short-term sort of things, but in terms of the long-term things, I think Wells Fargo, the bank, has come out and saying that by the end of 2023, they project the price of gold to hit around $2,100 to $2,300, which is quite a big move to the upside. And we can see from our Elliot Wave theory that technically it matches up. Fundamentally, it also matches up. We are seeing this as an impulsive move to the upside. At the same time, we could also see, this to be essentially, once this wave 5 completes, we might get a deeper correction to come back down and then continue going to the upside. That's a possibility. Not just that, we could possibly be in something where this move that we have here could essentially be a continuation of something else. So essentially, we could have maybe a wave 1 here, a wave 2, then this could be the wave 3, um, and then we could be essentially, I mean, there's many possibilities, right? But I'll probably say, from what I've gathered, we could possibly be in for something a bit more to the upside, especially what the banks are saying. That they're gonna hit what 2,100, 2,300. At the same time, and this is why I'm just a little bit skeptical. Although we should be following the big boys in this game, there is another sort of technical analysis with, or not another form of technical analysis, but when it comes to Elliott Wave theory, there are multiple counts. Um, One of the other things is that essentially the wave 5 has kind of already been completed here, and what this is essentially is an impulse to the downside, and then what we have here is a five-way move, and then this will probably be an A, B, and then a C, and then we continue going down to the downside, if that makes sense. So, there are these are obviously, I've got two scenarios in play. One is obviously following the big boys, which I would prefer to do, um, as they expect the market to hit around 2,100 to 2,300 by the end of this year. Um, but at the same time, technically, I'm going to be assuming that we have the wave one, wave two, wave three, wave four, and then a wave five, and then wave five is complete, and then this is a wave one, wave two, or wave A, wave B, and then we're essentially heading towards the downside. Um, just the In terms of the long-term projection, just be a bit cautious. But in terms of where we are short term, we are probably going to be heading towards the upside. Pound yen. So pound yen has also been good for me. I did say that we are going to eventually come down for that correction. We've started to go into that. We have a nice sort of wick rejection coming down. I did say also in my last video um, that we're going to start to see the market eventually come down here and then give us one more move up, and it did. So we have a nice simple ABC right here. We're going to expect this probably in the small time here, one more push up, and then we might just start selling off from here. And this will probably be an ABC pattern or something like that. And essentially what that's giving us on a higher time frame is we have a wave one, wave two, a wave three, and then this will probably become a wave four. Now we might have an ABC into a W, another three waves up into an X or an A, B, and then a C. So we might get, like I said, this is the wave four that we could currently be in, and the wave four could potentially drag on. When it comes to pound yen, the wave 4 does some next random ones. I mean, look at this wave 4 right here. Look at this one. This is all just dirty, you know what I'm saying? This is all extremely dirty wave 4s. So, we are on the wave 4. Just be much more cautious. But nevertheless, you know, I am assuming that we're going to continue going down, and we are currently in that wave 4. I hope you guys do like my analysis. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe. I have a Discord for all those people that are interested in mentorship. You just have to subscribe to my Patreon, and the link will be in the description down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys on to the next one. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.